He had seen real battles, the kind that left scars no medal could honor. But nothing prepared him for what he'd witness outside that quiet college gate on a rainy afternoon. Jack Miller, a single dad and former soldier, was fixing a broken streetlight when he heard the sound. A girl's cry, sharp and desperate. The kind of cry that made him drop everything. Instinct took over. He turned the corner just in time to see 3 boys cornering a young woman against the wall. Her books were scattered, her backpack torn, and her trembling hands clutched at nothing as one of them sneered, "Think you're better than us, huh?" Jack didn't think. He moved. "Back off," he said, voice calm but cold, the kind of tone that made soldiers straighten up. The bullies laughed at first, but the sight of his military posture and the way his jaw set made them hesitate. Within seconds, they were gone, muttering curses under their breath as they disappeared down the street. The girl didn't move. She was shaking, her long hair wet and sticking to her face. Jack picked up her books silently, handing them to her one by one. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. She nodded, but her eyes were full of tears. I didn't think anyone would stop." Jack gave a small, tired smile. Sometimes the right people just show up at the right time. He didn't ask her name, didn't know he had just stepped into a story that would change both of their lives. Jack lived in a small, rented apartment with his 10-year-old daughter, Emma. His life was simple. Work, care for Emma, repeat. Every dollar mattered. Every extra job meant one more meal he didn't have to worry about. After years in service overseas, he wanted peace. Not glory, not recognition, just peace. But peace never lasted long for men like him. 2 days after the incident, he was called to repair a lighting system in a downtown corporate building. It was huge. Glass walls, security guards, everything screamed wealth. He kept his head down, toolbox in hand, and followed the instructions to the CEO's floor. And then he froze. Sitting by the window, the girl from the college looked up. Their eyes met, and she gasped softly. "You," she said. Jack blinked, unsure what to say. "You're the girl from—" "Yes," she interrupted quickly, cheeks flushed. "You helped me." She stood up, walking closer, her professional tone fading for a moment. "I never got to thank you properly." He smiled politely. "No need. Anyone would have done it." But she shook her head. "No, they wouldn't have." Her name was Lily Hartman, daughter of Charles Hartman, CEO of Hartman Enterprises, one of the biggest firms in the city. Jack had no idea. To him, she was just a scared college girl he'd helped on a rainy afternoon. Lily watched him as he worked, curiosity replacing the fear she'd once felt. There was something steady about him, the way he spoke, the quiet way he handled things. Unlike the men she'd grown up around, arrogant, loud, entitled, Jack was grounded, real. Over the next few weeks, fate kept throwing them together. Small things. A repair call here. A company event there. And Lily began noticing how Jack's little girl would sometimes wait for him in the building lobby, doing homework while her dad worked late. Emma had his same calm smile, but her eyes held the kind of maturity no 10-year-old should have. Lily would often bring her snacks, sometimes help her with math problems, and before long, a quiet friendship grew between them. Still, Jack stayed distant. He knew people like Lily lived in a world far from his. The kind of world where men like him only existed to fix things, not to belong. But Lily didn't see it that way. She saw a man who risked himself for a stranger. A man raising his daughter alone with dignity and strength. And for reasons she couldn't explain, she wanted to know him. Beyond the soldier. Beyond the handyman. Then came the day everything changed again. Jack arrived at work only to find chaos in the building. Security alarms, shouting, and Lily, in tears, arguing with her father. The bullies from before had been identified. They were sons of major investors, and to protect the company's reputation, the CEO had chosen to keep the matter quiet. Lily was furious. "You're protecting them." "They attacked me, Dad." Her father's voice was cold. "You're a Hartman. You don't start scandals. You endure them." Jack stood frozen in the hallway, hearing everything. He saw Lily storm out, and for a moment he hesitated, but then followed. She was in the parking lot, sitting in her car, shaking. "You shouldn't have heard that," she said bitterly when he approached. "I did," he replied simply. "And you don't deserve that kind of silence." Tears spilled over. "You don't understand. In my world, everything is about image. Even being a victim is considered weakness." Jack's jaw tightened. "Then maybe your world needs to change." Something in his tone broke through her walls. She looked up at him, seeing not just a man, but a fighter. Someone who'd faced real battles and still believed in doing what was right. "Will you help me?" she asked softly. And he did. Together, they gathered evidence, testimonies, and went public, not through the media, but through a company-wide address that Jack helped her organize. Lily stood tall that day, voice shaking but fierce, exposing what happened and calling for justice. The fallout was massive. The investors pulled out, her father faced backlash, but for once Lily felt free. Afterward, she found Jack in the maintenance room, wiping grease off his hands. "You didn't have to help me," she said quietly. He looked at her and smiled. "You didn't have to stand up. But you did." Their worlds were still miles apart, but something unspoken bridged the distance. Respect, courage, a shared truth. Lily knelt beside Emma later that day, laughing as they built a paper airplane. Jack watched them, a warmth blooming in his chest he hadn't felt in years. Maybe, just maybe, peace wasn't about silence or solitude. Maybe it was about finding someone who made the noise worth it. And as Lily looked up and smiled at him, not the CEO's daughter, not the college girl he'd rescued, just a woman who saw him, Jack realized something. Some battles aren't fought with guns or fists. They're fought with heart. And this time, he was finally winning one worth fighting for.